No, he existed. We were talking about this yesterday. He existed, and because Sandy Keith, even though he was a great inventor in terms of bomb making, in terms of putting it all together, there's sketches that have lasted the test of time. I think he actually invented some kind of a trigger mechanism for the bomb that he made. But he needed a timing mechanism because, don't forget, he was going to put the trunk of gold on a ship and not be in his cabin. So he needed a time frame when the bomb would blow up in the middle of the Atlantic. So he hired a great clockmaker to make this escapement that would work inside the bomb to let off the bomb at a specific time where he wouldn't even be on the ship. So this is where I become the Russian who asks for a clock for my silk works in Siberia. Silk works. And so we go, and it's a bit of a comical exchange, I believe, but he's very serious, because if he doesn't get this clockmaker to make this clock, that mother is coming, they're taking the children, his life is over. All the schemes he's done from the beginning of his life to now mean nothing. Where is he going to go from? He has no children, he has no stature, he has no wife, and so he's lost complete control. So this means everything to him. And it's interesting because in the opera and in different kind of letters he has written to people, you get a sense of Alexander Keith Jr. You get a sense of his humility and his humanity because he feels regretful for doing this. And actually in the opera I decide, oh God, forgive, I cannot do this. The cost is too great. I must find another way. So then he goes back to Cecile, but Smoot comes again. Just when the moment when he could redeem himself, Smoot comes back and demands money. This is 20 years later, but this is the actual fact. The Smoot character followed him.
And how does Smoot find out where you exist, like where you live? How would he know?
Roger's got a great dialogue in the piece where it discusses how his whole family life, his whole wife, his whole family life has been ruined from the fact that he was once a rich Southern gentleman, and Sandy took all his money. And his whole life has been consumed with revenge upon Sandy Keith. And it works, because at the end, Smoot...
Well, no, but what I want to know is, you've managed, or rather Sandy has managed to be in Europe for 20 years. How does Smoot find out where you are after all this time? I mean, the scent has gone cold.
The scent has gone cold, and the reason, we talked about this, and the reason why the scent has gone cold is because the Confederacy has no more power. They have no more spies throughout the world. You know, he's lost his connections, but he's been searching for those connections for the last 20 years. And he goes back to Mary and asks where he is, and goes back to Halifax and says, where are you? You know, where is Sandy? Where is Sandy? And threatens her with the children.
So he locates Mary.
Yeah, and he basically says, I'll kill all of his offspring, and I'll kill you if you don't tell me right now. He goes back to Halifax and confronts Mary. Well, Mary has heard rumors that through the family, because the big Keith family still lives in Nova Scotia. And according to them, Sandy's done nothing wrong. He's never been convicted of anything. And the only thing he's been convicted of is leaving this poor wife, maid, with two children, two illegitimate Keith children who live in Halifax. So Sandy goes back to Mary, and she confesses that she believes he's in Dresden. So that's how he finds out.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, so Smoot appeared. I'm sorry?
It's a terribly chilling scene with Smoot and Mary.
Oh.
He threatens her, and not in a sexual terms, in a real death terms. It's a Confederacy's general or soldier, officer, who I think he was a captain and he could have become much more. You know, one of General Lee's favorites.
Sure.
Who lost everything. And he's seen a lot of death and a lot of blood, and he's ready to kill Mary and the two kids to get that information.
Now, it's about this point where I think perhaps this would have to be your longest air in the work.
And at this point, and I just did it the other day, and at this point I'm pretty much dying because I've already sung for 3 hours straight.
Heads will turn. I looked at the length of that on the page, which kept turning and turning, and I couldn't, the length of this air, and you've already been singing, and I'm curious how you intend to finish this. Because I mean, you're not quite yet done yet, and then you get this air lands on top of you. Tell us about how that where that takes us.
Well, like any piece, you know, I've talked to Judy about this, and I've talked to Aaron. You know, as a baritone, how often do you get the opportunity to do these big roles that you're on from top to bottom? You know, we don't sing roles unless you sing Rigoletto or Iago, but they're nothing compared to Chocho-san, who's on all night long. Baritones don't sing that much. And I've talked to these great artists about this, and they say, pace yourself. Now, you see the set here, we're hoping that it will punch the sound back into the theater, but I do have to pace myself. I can't go out there like Germont and sing one aria and a couple other arias full blast. I have to pace myself in this. And the orchestration is very delicate. You know, the aria that you were mentioning, it's very almost Britten-esque in the terms of when Peter Grimes comes back. You know, heads will turn a perfect prime. There's a lot of nuances in the music where you read. You
know, it sounds like a very exposed piece at that point.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's very eerie because in the orchestra there's only this little da 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 heads will turn up. So it's very very eerie. And but this scene is interesting because there's a huge arc in this scene alone, because here he is. He's got the bomb. He's got the clock. It's all ready to go. But at the end of the scene, he feels absolute guilt and remorse for what actually might happen. And he stops himself. Oh God, forgive, I cannot do this. So it's a wonderful arc of a character, because he commits to this bomb at the beginning, and then he realizes, what will my children, where will they have to hide? My children will have a legacy of someone who killed people if I'm caught. So it's a wonderful aria. And we have actually yet to stage all of it. We're going to stage it tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out.
So where do we go from there?
Well, there we go from the fact that the bomb explodes. Now, this is the very intricate part of the whole situation. The bomb does not explode in the middle of the Atlantic. The bomb explodes on Bremerhaven on the pier, or in the ship, but while the ship is docked at the pier. And he sees this out of the top box there. He sees this, and that's how I start the opera, as a remembrance of everything. And he sees the bomb, and he sees the devastation that he's created. These people, 80 people died. You know, he sees the dead bodies. He sees everything. That's his invention. That's his greatest work, is death. And it kills him. He commits suicide. A policeman comes to his door and says, "We're looking for a Russian who's a scam artist. Do you know who he is?" And he says, "No, I'm English." And he hands him English papers. "I'm William King Thomas. I'm an Englishman." "Russian, no." So again, he's taken himself, and now he's an Englishman with glasses and the whole bit. And so then he shoots himself. And then there's an epilogue of forgiveness, kind of. If you can, I think there's a sense of wanting to forgive, but you can never forgive such a deed. And this is the human quality of the opera, is the epilogue. Mm-hmm.
Now the epilogue, you're gone at this point, and the epilogue takes place. Now I believe it takes place in New York, does it not?